It's amazing and miraculous that she did survive that.
A woman mauled by her pit bull earlier this month in Palm Springs. Tonight, we hear from a friend of the woman about the long road to recovery ahead.
It's a sad situation, seeing the kids happy all the time playing outside, and with my grandbabies too as well.
A toddler shot and killed by her 4-year-old cousin in San Bernardino County. How neighbors are reacting and why the victim's grandfather is in custody. Investigators working to determine the cause in yesterday's boat crash in Missouri. Why authorities believe bad weather is to blame. Why some are questioning why the boat was on the lake in the first place.
Now from the Desert's news leader, this is News Channel 3, first at 10 on Fox 11. Your local news 1 hour earlier.
Hello, I'm John White. Karen Devine has the night off. She's on assignment. We are following breaking news right now. Actually, 2 breaking stories, starting with a deadly crash in Desert Hot Springs. Police say a pedestrian was hit by a car around 8:15 tonight near Palm Drive and Buena Vista Avenue. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. We are told the driver is cooperating with police. We have a map on the left and a live picture right there on the right. We're told Palm Drive has been closed in that area. You can see the yellow tape. We're also following a second breaking story. This one, a deadly crash on Highway 74 just south of Palm Desert, not far from Bighorn Country Club. We're told a car left the roadway. Stay with News Channel 3 on the air and online at KESQ.com. Also with our KESQ mobile app as we continue to follow both of these breaking stories. Will bring you any new developments. A Palm Springs woman who was viciously attacked by her own dog is out of intensive care tonight, more than 2 weeks after it happened. She's still getting round-the-clock care in the hospital. Tonight, we have updates on how she's doing and also much more on what actually happened during this attack. News Channel 3's Lauren Coronado is live in the newsroom after speaking with one of the dog owner's close friends. Lauren.
John, Lauren Music has had 4 surgeries so far and still has several more to go. Tonight, her friend is telling me she's recovering well, but there's certainly a long road ahead.
She told me that the cops told her that they've seen less blood at murder scenes. Yeah.
8 blood transfusions and 4 surgeries later, Lauren Music is fighting for a full recovery. She's had surgeries in both arms to sort of stabilize her arteries. I believe she went through another surgery yesterday. I believe there are like 3 or 4 more surgeries planned in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Graham Hancock is a close friend of Music, still trying to process the violent attack. She was mauled in the face, forearms, and leg. Neighbors helped free Music, but the dog found its way back to her, continuing the brutal attack.
The fact that the dog circled around to the front part of the house and went for round 2 is just like a sick dream. I couldn't even imagine what was going on in her head.
Initially, doctors planned to amputate her left arm and right hand. But according to Hancock, medics have been able to save her limbs. Hancock tells me Music went into her apartment while the lights were off, went to pick up papers off the floor that had fallen from a table, and that's when the pit bull named Taz attacked.
I think maybe the dog just sort of had a sort of reaction and maybe didn't realize that it was Lauren.
Once police got on scene, officers tased Taz multiple times. Hancock says police used an animal control pole to restrain him.
The circular plastic rope mechanism around its neck, and I believe the dog continued to keep twisting around and then eventually choked itself to death.
Meanwhile, Music was being rushed to the hospital where she remains tonight and is expected to stay for the next few months.
I just want Lauren to sort of, make a recovery and not being in the situation that she's in right now.
And Music still needs monthly bills paid and more medical procedures ahead. If you would like to help Music with those medical expenses, we have a link to her GoFundMe page at KESQ.com. Reporting live in the newsroom, Lauren Coronado, News Channel 3.
Thank you, Lauren. We're going into the weekend still feeling the heat and humidity. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen's tracking air conditions on a Friday night. Haley, it hasn't been our most comfortable week outside, that's for sure.
It certainly has not. We've been dealing with a soupy atmosphere all throughout this week. Today got a little better, but not by a lot. We're still hanging out in the 60s with those dew point temperatures, and tomorrow near 60 as well. However, a gradual dry out will be happening throughout this weekend, so by Sunday and then into Monday, you'll really be able to tell a difference. However, while that humidity decreases thanks to a ridge of high pressure building in, it's also going to be bringing us some extremely hot temperatures next week. Coming up in my complete First Alert forecast, we'll plan out what you can expect for your Saturday and in the days moving forward. John?
Okay, thank you, Haley. See you in a bit. A grandfather in custody tonight after a 2-year-old girl was shot and killed by her 4-year-old cousin. Investigators are working to figure out how the 4-year-old got a hold of the gun. As Leticia Juarez reports, the grandfather is accused tonight of child endangerment and being a felon in possession of a firearm.
This was the scene outside a home on Duffy Street in Muscoy this morning. Neighbors say the woman in red is the mother of the 2-year-old little girl who was shot and killed.
When they bought out, they had a patch here over her chest, and you know, it didn't look like a big hole because it was just, you know, they just had a patch over and was pumping it as they was putting it in the ambulance.
Investigators say the toddler was accidentally shot by her 4-year-old cousin. We blurred his face as he was carried out of the home, visibly distraught.
4-year-old child got a hold of a handgun and accidentally shot the 2-year-old child.
The little girl was taken to the hospital and died an hour later. Her mother, supported by another woman, was taken to sheriff's headquarters with other family members for questioning. Neighbors were left shaken by the tragedy.
It's a sad situation, seeing the kids happy all the time playing outside, and with my grandbabies too as well. It's really sad.
Investigators are trying to determine who the gun belonged to and how the 4-year-old boy got a hold of the loaded weapon, something neighbors say no child should have access to.
It's very sad that parents would leave a gun laying around for a kid to get a hold of.
Firearms should be put up in a safe place, a gun case or anything, so it won't be easy access for the children, you know, just as well as medication that people take daily.
That was Leticia Juarez reporting. Tonight we are hearing from the husband of a woman killed in a crash on Interstate 10 just east of the Coachella Valley on Sunday. Archie Kelly was riding in the car with Rachel Lopez and her 2 children when their car had a blowout just past Chiricahua Summit heading into the valley. Kelly says that Lopez lost control and the car went off the road and rolled. Kelly and their children were okay. Lopez had suffered head and chest injuries and died. Kelly is grateful for the many people who tried to help.
I want to commend the people who ran there and helped us out. We had a couple of nurses that came there and gave her comfort while she was going through what she was going through. Emotion for it happening, like literally I'm looking at it.
Kelly says Lopez was taken by ambulance but died from massive chest trauma 2 hours after the crash. Today the family held a car wash fundraiser to help cover funeral expenses. Family members say the donations will help greatly.
Her medical expenses and laying her to rest, it's really expensive these days, so anything helps.
The family also has a GoFundMe page. You can find a link to that on our website, KESQ.com. The family is planning services for August 1st. An appeals court is upholding an attempted murder conviction for a thermal man who shot a security guard at a Palm Springs nightclub. 34-year-old Sheldon Alfred Auclair Jr. was sentenced to 32 years to life for shooting Zelda's guard, Eugenio Bradford, outside the club in April of 2014. Auclair was kicked out of Zelda's for throwing a woman to the ground. He then stayed outside the club, got into an argument with another group that was broken up by security guards. Auclair shot Bradford in the stomach. Bradford needed 3 surgeries and kept him in the hospital for more than a month. The appeals panel rejected Auclair's contention that the evidence was insufficient in the case. The panel also disagreeing with his arguments that he fired the gun unintentionally. A local tribe is giving first responders a little help. Next on News Channel 3, see the donations that will help fire and sheriffs in Rancho Mirage. And people tend to hate the muggy weather. Bugs seem to love it. What you can do to keep them out of your home this summer. You're watching the Desert's News Leader, first at 10 on Fox 11. The Rancho Mirage Fire Department and Sheriff's Department received a new backup generator and a police motorcycle from the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians today. The tribe donating the new equipment to Rancho Mirage Fire Station 69 and the Sheriff's Department this morning. Officials say the new generator will help them power the station in the event of an emergency.
This will buy us that time while they are working on, whatever caused the power outage, to be able to still fluently run those emergency calls.
And the motorcycle will be added to the Rancho Mirage Police Department, allowing them to get more patrols out on the streets. People hate the muggy weather. Bugs seem to thrive in it, and people are seeing more of them right now. High temps and humidity mean more bugs are active, seeking out shelter in cool, shady spots. This time of the year is especially troublesome with spiders, crickets, scorpions, and sometimes even snakes. Some tips to keep these pests away: don't hose down your patio after spraying repellent chemicals. Don't lean any brooms or trash bins against walls. Black widows are known to hide out inside. Check under barbecue covers or pool rafts. Cool, shady spots are places where creepy crawlies like to camp out.
In the summer, you're going to get crickets, you're going to get American roaches, you're going to get earwigs inside the house. And the one thing you have to think about, what do all three of those have in common? Moisture. They're trying to get out of the heat, just like you are.
Now, if you do come across a snake or other pests in your backyard that you can't handle on your own, the safest ways to get rid of the problem is to call animal control, maybe for a snake, or hire a professional to spray your home. Investigators are focusing on stormy weather after a boat capsized in Branson, Missouri, killing more than a dozen. Next on News Channel 3, why there are questions tonight about why that boat was out on the water in that weather.
And we are dealing with clear skies right now, but as we make our way into Saturday, more clouds will be joining us. Coming up in my complete first alert forecast, I'll let you know how long they'll actually stay around and what else we can expect as we make our way into the weekend. You're watching News Channel 3, first at 10 on Fox 11.
17 people are dead, including several children, in a tragedy we first told you about last night as it was breaking in Branson, Missouri. Now there are serious questions tonight being raised about why a tourist boat was out on the water when severe thunderstorm warnings were in that area and that boat capsized. Mike Tobin has more as investigators work to determine what went wrong.
The search for survivors is over following a fatal boat accident Thursday night that left 17 people dead and many others injured.
No more missing. The age range for the 17 was from 1-year-old to up to 70-year-old.
It happened near Branson, Missouri. A group of 31 tourists were taking a nighttime cruise on a duck boat when a fast-moving thunderstorm brought high winds and heavy rain to the area, causing the boat to capsize and sink. State and local officials now teaming with the Coast Guard, scouring the area where the incident took place, hoping to find answers about why it couldn't make it back to land.
Tactically on the water right now, the Missouri State Highway Patrol is using sonar and divers, and that sonar picture allows them to produce an image of things and items and objects that are on the bottom, and then the divers are used to confirm or validate what the sonar picture is showing them.
Divers have located the boat. They'll start recovering it, followed by an in-depth examination to determine if any design flaws could have contributed to the sinking. But investigators are emphasizing their belief that Mother Nature was to blame, and with a powerful storm hitting with little or no warning, there was likely nothing that could have been done to avert the tragedy.
The storm comes through, how do you predict how much that's going to come through, how big the storm's going to be? A lot of things we'll never have all the answers of why that happened.
Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are headed here. They will join the Coast Guard and take over the investigation. In Branson, Missouri, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen.
Look at these temperatures all across the region. Triple digits for the desert Southwest. Palm Springs this afternoon coming in at 109. 108 is the average high for this time of year, so overall very seasonable day, but felt a little muggy out there. We're going to keep those muggies with us even into tomorrow. Looking at our water vapor imagery, you can see where all the cloud tops are. This is actually what's going to be working its way briefly into Southern California tomorrow, allowing us some more cloud cover. So that's why we're going to be keeping it just a little bit more on the muggy side into tomorrow. Now into tomorrow as well, there will still be a chance for storm development on our local mountains and across the high desert. At this time, the majority of this action looks to take place well towards our north, with very isolated incidents happening across the high desert. So know this before you get in a car and head somewhere, to check your KESQ First Alert weather app, because the chance still exists. However, we will begin to dry out even more as we work our way into Sunday, and that in turn will continue to reduce our chances because of such dry air coming into place. But right now we are still holding steady with rather uncomfortable conditions as dew point temperatures were in the 60s today. That's where they'll be very similar tomorrow, near 60. And then we go into Sunday, dropping down into the mid 50s. So a gradual dry out will be occurring. That's why the possibility of showers and storms still exist in those isolated areas. But overall, we are going to be getting drier. However, to get that dry air, we also have to deal with some very hot temperatures. This ridge of high pressure that's just towards our east will continue to expand towards the west, and in turn that's going to bring our temperatures into the 1-teens beginning on Monday, when an excessive heat warning will be going into effect, remaining in effect through Thursday, and there is even a possibility of that being extended into Friday. As of today, we are down 11 consecutive days of triple-digit heat so far for 2018. Longest streak has been 20 days. Let's surpass that, shall we? And we're going to do that this week. We will really be heating up as we make our way into Sunday and then Monday. Those triple digits going to be watching for record temperature territory, at least through about Thursday, but keeping it hot even into the next weekend. John?
We are in the thick of it right now. Thank you, Haley. Investigators now revealing President Trump's former attorney has recordings of conversations between the two men. Next on News Channel 3, what Michael Cohen says was discussed during those conversations. You're watching the Desert News Leader, first at 10 on Fox 11. Investigators are now revealing that shortly before the 2016 election, President Trump's personal attorney at that time, Michael Cohen, secretly recorded a conversation he had with his client. As Ray Bogan reports, investigators say a payment to a Playboy model who claimed she once had an affair with the future president was among the things discussed in that recording.
In April, Michael Cohen's offices were raided by the FBI. By May, it was announced he was no longer part of the president's legal team. Now the question, is Cohen cooperating with federal prosecutors? Caught on tape, a conversation between the president's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, and then candidate Donald Trump. The fall 2016 recordings seized by the FBI during a raid of Cohen's offices earlier this year are said to include a discussion about a possible hush payment for Karen McDougal, the Playboy centerfold who says she had an extramarital affair with Mr. Trump.
A lot of people ask, how is a tape recording allowed to be used if it's between a client and an attorney, right? And so the point there would be, if it's in furtherance of a crime, that is an exception to the attorney-client privilege.
Federal investigators are looking at Cohen over possible bank fraud and campaign finance violations, including a $130,000 non-disclosure payment made in 2016 to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Yet speculation has swirled that Cohen may be prepared to cooperate with Robert Mueller's investigation. Cohen, who once said he would take a bullet for the president, has since said, "I will not be a punching bag as part of anyone's defense strategy. I'm not a villain in any story and won't allow others to try and depict me in that way."
I think at this point, we are speculating about things that appear to be distantly irrelevant, to the issue of Russia Russian collusion, if it be that, and the issues that the special counsel was asked to investigate.
The president's current attorney, Rudy Giuliani, has confirmed to the New York Times the Cohen tape exists, but says no payment was ever made and that the recording only shows that Mr. Trump has done nothing wrong. In Washington, Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Police tonight are on the hunt for a man who groped a number of women while they were shopping in the San Fernando Valley. As Tom Waite reports, authorities have released video images of the man, hoping they catch him before his crimes escalate.
Security video shows a well-dressed man lurking in the shoe section of a store. Detectives say it may look like nothing, but this man is actually tracking his next victim. You'll see a woman appear quickly in the frame. Moments later, the guy assaults her.
Just another predator going after girls like me, or a little girl, or he could go after old women or anything. It's just crazy what people do like that.
Unfortunately, it's not surprising, but I thank you for bringing it up to my attention.
The LAPD is calling the guy the preppy store masher. That's because he appears well-dressed, waits in stores for his victims, and after he hunts them down, he grabs them, grinding or thrusting his entire body against them. It's happened at least 4 times in Canoga Park and Woodland Hills.
He does not attempt to hide his face. He does not attempt to hide his identity. His calmness concerns us, and we do not want his behavior to escalate.
The LAPD is not identifying the exact stores involved, but we're told it's happening in several locations across the San Fernando Valley and that the suspect may be using the Orange Line to escape.
They'll find him eventually. Everybody has a phone. We're going to catch him. Don't worry. We got this, guys.
That was Tom Waite reporting. More news, weather, and sports coming up right after the break. You're watching the Desert's News Leader, first at 10 on Fox 11.
Now from the Desert's News Leader, this is News Channel 3, first at 10 on Fox 11. Your local news 1 hour earlier.
Welcome back. It is the bottom of the hour. I'm John White. Karen Devine is on assignment on this Friday night. We are following a pair of breaking stories for you tonight. One person is dead in a crash on Highway 74 just south of Palm Desert, not far from Bighorn Country Club. We're told the car left the roadway. News Channel 3 has a crew on the way to the scene, and they report to us the highway has now been closed south of Palm Desert. Also tonight, more breaking news on a deadly crash in Desert Hot Springs. Police say a pedestrian was hit by a car around 8:15 tonight near Palm Drive in Buena Vista. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. We're told the driver did stop and is cooperating with police. Palm Drive has been closed in that area. Stay with News Channel 3 on the air and online at KESQ.com. Also with our KESQ mobile app as we continue to follow both of these breaking stories. We're hearing tonight from the husband of the woman who was killed Sunday in a crash on Interstate 10 just east of the valley. Archie Kelly was in the car with his wife, Rachel Lopez, and 2 of her children traveling westbound on I-10. Kelly says the car was handling poorly, so they pulled over to check the tires at Chirreco Summit. After deciding that everything appeared to be okay, they got back on the road.
Less than 5 minutes later, I heard a pop. Car veered off from the slow lane into the fast lane, into the sand. She had no control over it and it veered off, and unfortunately, she passed away from her injuries.
According to Kelly, everyone in the car was wearing their seatbelt. Lopez died 2 hours later from massive trauma to the chest. Continuing coverage now on this. Tonight, we're also hearing from one of the children who was in that car when it all happened. News Channel 3's Jeremy Chen spoke with him and has more on how the family is coping.
Family and friends are out on Highway 111 getting the word out about their car wash. The images of 40-year-old Rachel Lopez prominent on their signs.
My mom, she was a lovable, kind, caring person. She always gave to others.
Lopez died in a rollover car crash on the I-10 in Desert Center Sunday morning. Her family says a tire blew out as they were traveling to the Colorado River, causing the car to overturn with Lopez taking the brunt of the impact. Her son Joel Lara was in the vehicle.
It was really hard for me to see her like bleeding and all, but I mean, I'm gonna miss her. I was just really sad and heartbroken.
Joel is one of 7 children Lopez left behind. The images of that crash are still present in his mind.
It was like, Kayla, it was steep right there. That's why when we had crashed, we had like flipped over. I mean, I wouldn't go back there because there's too many memories about that day.
To help cope with the loss, Joel is working at the car wash fundraiser that's helping cover his mother's funeral expenses. His siblings say it's now more important than ever to stick together.
Now that she's not here, we rely on each other because she was the glue to our family, so we just kind of naturally just came together for her. We just became one for her.
It's a connection that's helping the family move forward to pay their respects. Jeremy Chen, News Channel 3, Indio.
The family also has a GoFundMe page set up. You can find a link to that on our website, KESQ.com. Our run of muggy weather continues and people are looking for relief. New air conditioning technology is being introduced here in the valley, installed in a Rancho Mirage home. The unit is a 3-in-1 system with air conditioning, heat, and hot water. It costs about the same to install, they say, as a conventional unit, but is nearly twice as efficient. It uses a different refrigerant and water cooling to transfer heat or cold to the air, saving money and the environment.
These units already use the most environmentally friendly refrigerants. In the short future, we're switching to ones that have even a less of an environmental impact.
The environmental impact is a lot less than AC, you know, and we're just doing our part to combat climate change as well.
The system isn't like a swamp or evaporative cooler. It doesn't add humidity to the air to cool it. The company, Palm Springs-based Phase Save, hopes to expand to more homes in the Coachella Valley. Well, how about some relief? Speaking of that, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen is tracking air conditions. Haley, we're all suffering through it.
That we are. The good news is we're going to be changing that kind of suffering. So it depends. Do you prefer the humidity or do you prefer the heat? Because we're trading high humidity for high heat as we make our way into the next week. And it's all thanks to a ridge of high pressure that will continue to build right over Southern California. And as it does that, we'll be getting drier and drier. But then we are going to be jumping up into the 1-teens and really feeling the heat. Looking ahead towards tomorrow, though, we'll be spotting some extra clouds overhead as one final surge of moisture tries to push into Southern California. The bulk of its activity does look to be towards the north, but our higher elevations, including the high desert as well as local mountains, still have the opportunity for an isolated shower or storm to develop. Overall, down here on the valley floor, though, we're talking about those dew point temperatures near 60 degrees. Very similar to what it was today, and those high temperatures slightly cooler than today, but only because of those passing clouds overhead. Beyond tomorrow, temperatures will be climbing, and they will be climbing quick. We'll take a look at all of those numbers headed our way coming up in my complete forecast.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Haley. An update tonight on a bill that would designate a local memorial as the official state, that's California, memorial for LGBTQ veterans. We spoke with Palm Springs Mayor Robert Moon today, also State Assembly member Eduardo Garcia, who's behind this legislation. It would be the first national LGBTQ Veterans Memorial, and it would be right here in our backyard at Desert Memorial Park in Cathedral City.
It means that we are embracing everyone who has served in our armed forces, and we're saying thank you to them for fighting and bringing forward the opportunities and freedoms that this great country offers everyone here in the United States.
The memorial has already been in place since May 27th of 2001. If the legislation passes in Sacramento, a second bronze plaque would be installed, indicating that the memorial is now the official state of California LGBTQ Veterans Memorial. Veterans also say they believe that it would increase tourism in the area. People would come to see that. A local baseball standout is making his case right now to be a big leaguer when major league teams expand rosters in September. And the debut of Manny Machado with the Los Angeles Dodgers against the Brew Crew. You're watching News Channel 3, the Desert's news leader, first at 10 on Fox 11.
This is the best local sports show with Cody Krupp.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Cody Krupp for sports, and welcome back Major League Baseball. The Dodgers beginning the second half of their season, a half-game lead in the NL West, but also a new four-time All-Star shortstop. And what a Dodgers debut it was for Manny Machado. Everybody wanted him. Los Angeles got him, and he got all over the Brew Crew early and often. First inning, first at bat, and just like that, a single up the middle. He went 2 for 3 on the night and also drew 2 walks. So fast forward, score tied at 1 in the 7th. Chris Taylor saying, say no more. Drops it down for RBI number 42, and the Dodgers lead 2-1. And then Max Muncy about to make it 3-1. Same inning, a roper to right and center. So that's a little insurance that it looked like they're going to need, because in the 8th, this is the All-Star Jesus Aguilar waving it goodbye. The National League leader with 24 home runs on the season. That made it just a one-run game, 3-2. But how about those blue? 2 on, 2 out. TK Hernandez, get up and get out. The dagger in Miller Park. Dodgers 6-2 winners over the Brew Crew. So it was not as good of a start to the second half for the Los Angeles Angels, though they did get to stay in Southern California. They're 49-48 on the year, but about to go 15 games behind the ALS leading Houston Astros. Of course, the reigning World Series champion Astros, they got the second best record in baseball. But did not have much trouble adding a win. It was Dallas Keuchel, 7 2/3, gave up just 2 Angels hits, 1 earned run. Angels, they beat the Halos 3-1.
1-1. Swung on, that's ripped to left center field. Epplin going back, still going back, and that ball is gone. Just over the barrier in left center field. Taylor Ward with his 4th home run of the year.
And talk about hitting the baseball. That is what local Angels first-round pick Taylor Ward has been doing lately. Of course, on May 25th, he was promoted to AAA Salt Lake City. And here's a tweet from the Salt Lake City Bees last week. Since June 18th, he's played in 21 games. He's had 37 hits, 17 RBIs, 5 home runs. That's pretty solid, to say the least. And if these Angels, if they keep struggling, I'll look for the Shadow Hills grad to be in that September 1st call-ups. We're going to have to wait and see. And all week long, sports director Blake Arthur has brought you his summer golf tips, from PJ West to the Classic Club and many in between. All those golf tips from the professionals. It's on our website at KESQ.com. We're going to have 5 more next week. So now let's go over to Scotland to the Open Championship. The #1 player in the world, Dustin Johnson, didn't even make the weekend, but names like Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and Jordan Spieth are all in the mix. In the top 40, separated by just 6 strokes. So this shot right here kept the leaderboard nice and tight. The South Carolina-born Kevin Kistner, everything was smooth sailing until his final hole. He had to settle for a double bogey, and instead of leading by 2 strokes, he dropped down to 6 under, and that tied him for the lead with Zach Johnson. So, like I mentioned, Dustin Johnson did not make the cut. But let's take a look at the big names that are going into Saturday. It's Rory McIlroy at 4 under, Jordan Spieth and Ricky Fowler at 3 under, Jason Day, Tiger Woods, and Phil Mickelson both are even tied for 29. So it's shaping up to be a pretty good weekend from the Open Championships. So sports ends now. We're going to have more news after the break. You're watching the Deserts News Leader.
Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen.
A warm and humid day here in the Coachella Valley. Palm Springs coming in with a high temperature of 109. Now 108 is the average for this time of year, so we're keeping these nice and seasonable, but we did have those dew points up a little bit higher than what we typically like. They were in the 60s today. That's really where they're going to be tomorrow because of what we're seeing here just towards our east on our water vapor imagery. This is actually going to try working its way further towards the west, skirting our desert. And so it's going to be bringing some extra clouds out there for our Saturday. So we're still going to be maintaining some muggy conditions as we head into this weekend. And even as this system continues to push through, we do have the opportunity for some isolated cells to develop showers, storms for our higher elevations. So very isolated chances for our local mountains, but even more so for the high desert as this system really looks to push a little bit just towards our east and then further up towards the north is where it's looking to bring a lot of that rain. But before you head out on the roads tomorrow, just make sure you have the KESQ First Alert app. You can check, see where the rain is right on the radar, and go about your day. Good news is we'll continue to dry out as we head into our Sunday, becoming less humid out there. Thank goodness. so long to those dew point temperatures in the 60s. Again, that's what we're going to feel tomorrow, but as we make our way into Sunday, dropping down into the mid-50s. It's not going to be a huge change in the day-to-day, but as we head into Monday, you'll really be able to notice a difference. And the reason we are drying out is because of a ridge of high pressure. This is just towards our east, but it's continuing to work its way towards the west, and it's going to be developing right over us. Well, it's going to dry us out, but it's also going to be bringing some extremely warm temperatures, and an excessive heat warning has already been issued for a large chunk of the desert Southwest. This goes into effect on Monday, remains in effect through Thursday, and we could even see that extended. We're talking about our afternoon highs in the 1-teens all across the Coachella Valley. So get ready for the heat and go ahead and start making your plans accordingly, trying to get things done as early as possible in the day. Today does make 11 consecutive days of triple-digit heat. So far this year, our longest streak has been 20 days, and then it was interrupted by one high temperature of 99 degrees. So now we're starting over, but moving forward, we're going to be blowing this 20-day streak out of the water because we are keeping it nice and hot next week, even going to be on record high temperature watch for that excessive heat warning, seeing those and feeling those temperatures in the 1-teens. So John, trading the high humidity for the high heat.
Okay, well, they say, if you can't stand the heat, then you have to get out of the desert. A lot of people will probably be doing that this weekend. Economic experts are warning the trade war between the U.S. and China is expected to hurt Americans. Next on News Channel 3, how the cost may be passed along to consumers or even worse, cost some people their jobs. You're watching the Desert's News Leader first at 10 on Fox 11. The trade tensions between the U.S. and China are escalating. The Trump administration is moving beyond raw industrial goods and is now threatening tariffs on items that could directly cost consumers. Tonight, Melissa Rainey has a look at the products you may be paying more for if the tariffs stick.
The trade war between the world's two largest economies is about to impact your wallet, literally. Pocketbooks are among the thousands of Chinese exports facing a 10% tariff, along with handbags, apparel, refrigerators, mattresses, and even furniture.
So it's causing all kinds of bureaucratic headaches on the parts of producers, exporters, importers all over the world.
Seafood, soy sauce, and rice are also on the list. Economic experts say the additional taxes will ripple through supply chains, forcing companies in both countries to decide whether to take a financial hit themselves or pass it along to consumers.
In either case, it's bad news. Nobody wins from this kind of policies.
And those cheap Chinese TVs will also be a thing of the past. That's because the tariffs target the components necessary to make the TV sets and displays.
It'll be all electronic goods, really. It's not just televisions. All the component parts of all the Internet of Things are going to be more expensive.
Experts say the real surprise hit may come during the holiday shopping season. Even though clothing, shoes, and toys were excluded from the initial list, the parts and machinery used to make those items may be impacted, which could raise prices.
A lot of people are going to be finding themselves getting more interested in the goodwill come 2019.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Melissa Rainey.
Another data analytics firm is getting the boot by Facebook. Crimson Hexagon has been suspended from gathering information from the social media giant pending an investigation. Today, the Wall Street Journal reported Crimson Hexagon had contracts to use public Facebook data for U.S. governmental agencies and a Russian nonprofit. While suspending the firm from the site, a Facebook spokesperson noted no evidence has been found to indicate Crimson Hexagon inappropriately obtained any data. Facebook is still dealing with fallout from data collected on millions of users by Cambridge Analytica during the 2016 campaign. A final look at your First Alert forecast up next on News Channel 3. You're watching the Desert's News Leader first at 10 on Fox 11.
Well, temperatures are going to be fairly consistent as we make our way into tomorrow. Looking to be a couple degrees cooler than today just because of some extra clouds, but we will begin the drying process and temperatures will certainly be heating up Sunday into Monday. And it's the start of the next work week that we have an excessive heat warning going into effect.
Okay, looks miserable all across the board right there.
It's going to be great.
Thank you. That is tonight's News Channel 3 first at 10 on Fox 11. More news coming up just minutes away on KESQ. And we are following a pair of breaking stories, deadly crashes in Desert Hot Springs and Palm Desert. Good weekend.